Hi, and welcome back. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant, and you're watching Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for following me. Hopefully, you have enjoyed your weekend. Those of you that celebrate Easter, Resurrection Day, or a day off, hopefully you enjoyed your time with your family. I'm coming in, and Miss Gloria, I heard you loud and clear. I will not explain myself anymore. If I don't have time, I'm just gonna come on, do my thing, and then I'm gonna go. Okay? Thank you so much, Miss Gloria. I got Miss Gloria in my back pocket. She's my girl. Okay, so I wanted to come on. I just wanted to do a clarification. I told you guys I would do a clarification on what a super empath is. And by reading the comments, I can kind of determine who's a super empath and who's not a super empath. So there are people that have described being a super empath, and one person, well, there were several people, and I know that you understand the concept of who you are. There are other people, and one person, I'm not sure if it's a male or female, but one person did come on there and made it clear that some of you guys are calling yourselves supernovas. There is no such thing as a supernova empath. There's no such thing. It's a super empath that goes supernova. To understand what going supernova means, you have to go read the information like on NASA concerning when a star goes supernova. When a star goes supernova, that means the star is dying. And what happens is that the core, well, I can kind of put it in layman terms, is so much put inside of that star that it explodes, and it's almost 1,000,000 times brighter than the sun. But it blows out, it explodes. It can't hold anything anymore. It blows up. And when it blows up, eventually within a year, either the particles are blasted out into space, or and the star dies. The star dies. So for an empath that goes supernova, empaths do not. When you come on and say, "Yep, I'm a supernova," and I go, I'm a super empath, and I go supernova, and I went supernova. No, super empaths do not brag about going supernova, and super empaths usually don't realize that they're super empaths. So if you're bragging about it and you feel strongly, and "Yep, I'm a super," because it sounds powerful. Understand when I say that not supernova, but super empath. That a super empath is the equivalent of a greater narcissist. But you have to think, you guys are thinking of the greater narcissist. Remember, on the narcissist scale, there is the lower, mid, to greater narcissists. Greater narcissists are not ones that you annoy. It's like the Bigfoot. They're hidden in plain sight. You really don't even realize when you're dealing with a greater narcissist. Some of you are like, yeah, I was with a greater narcissist. A greater narcissist, they watch, they listen, they take their time, they're very calculative, they study behavior. They watch you on Facebook. Sometimes they do not engage with you until years later. The reason why super empath, why greater narcissists like super empath, because they're the equivalent of a greater narcissist on the scale, on the other side of the scale. Remember, the empath is the opposite of a narcissist. Narcissist has no compassion, they have no ability to bond, and they have no empathy. An empath, on the other side, they operate out of emotions. They don't know when to stop. They don't know when to say no. And when you say super empath and you come to my office, a lot of times they don't realize that they're super empath. When you say super empath, that lets me know that you're probably dealing with post-traumatic stress, complex post-traumatic stress. You're probably dealing with major depression, probably severe, with psychotic episodes, or maybe not with psychotic episodes. You're dealing with a lot of body issues. You're probably dealing with a lot of chronic pain. You're dealing with a lot of health issues. And literally, to put it in layman terms, basically you're kind of jacked up. And you are an individual that is unable to say no. People run over you a lot because you have a very big heart. A super empath is a person that would give you the shirt off of their back. They won't eat a meal. They'll starve before they let other people starve. They're in tune with people. They love people. They want to help people. They give the maximum amount of fuel. They have a very high pain tolerance because they probably come from families that have narcissistic family members, or parental roles, or parents, or people in parental roles, they have probably been through a lot coming up. They, in every person that has been through something traumatic, it manifests itself differently. Some people manifest in personality disorders such as borderline personality, narcissistic personality, psychopath, sociopath. A lot of those cluster B personality disorders stem from trauma. Personality disorders stem from trauma. And so for an empath, they may not have picked up a personality disorder, or they may have, like borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder also stems from childhood trauma. Normally, when you're dealing with people that have severe post-traumatic stress disorder or complex post-traumatic stress disorder, sometimes you will find, and in a clinical setting, I will find borderline personality disorder. Some people are not empaths, they're codependent. Some of you guys, you have to remember that a good clinician is not going to come on social media and just diagnose people. If you've been doing it long enough, and some of you guys that were on there have been making comments, I can tell that you guys are in the medical or mental health field. I can kind of tell by the way that you're responding. Some of the people that were responding to other people, that you can't just come on YouTube or on social media and just diagnose people. But there are some symptomology that some of you display that lets me know this sounds more like borderline traits. But it wouldn't be unethical for me to just diagnose you guys on YouTube. So some of you guys, when you're speaking up, it's not that you went supernova, you just had enough, you start fighting back. Some of you are in a revenge state. Some of you are talking about, I am a super empath. That's why I'm thinking about how I'm going to get the person back. That's not being a super empath. A super empath is a very broken and hurt individual. They're almost ashamed of the fact that they are a super empath because they have problems with boundaries. They have problems with saying no. They stay in relationships too long. When people have told them not to get into it, or it's time for you to get out, they've stayed in for many years, way after everybody else knows, but they just keep having that hope. They stay, they hope, when they get in my office, a lot of times I have worked with people 1 to 2 years that are super empaths. I have worked with them for almost the longest, probably 2 years and counting, where I've had super empaths in, and they are emotionally and psychologically broken. When a super empath goes supernova, a empath would do everything they possibly can to avoid just blowing up. They'll do anything to avoid that because they don't want to hurt the person that they love, which could be the narcissist. And they will do anything to avoid, because that is a lot of energy, and you keep messing with that. And see, the thing about it is like on the narcissist side, you got to remember that the narcissist watches everything you do. They listen to you. They mirror you. They don't build relationships or rapport. What they're doing is they're gathering information. Somebody said they interrogate. So they gather information that they can use against you and hold it against you. A super empath is very intuitive. They watch everything. They don't gather information for the purpose of paying you back. They're just very intuitive. They watch how you act. They watch your body language. They watch what you do. They watch your habits. If they do certain things and you respond to them a certain way, they'll stop doing certain things. They'll pull back, but they'll watch. And once a super empath in their mind, instead of blowing up on you and exploding, because that is the death of you, they prefer to back out of the situation to explode. It takes a lot of energy. They feel guilty about what they've done. And I think 2 people on here explained it beautifully. But it takes a lot of energy after they've gone supernova to protect themselves, not to fight back. They don't go supernova to fight back. That's not what happens. They literally go supernova to protect themselves. It is a self-preservation mechanism when they have reached their end, and that narcissist won't leave them alone. But what they don't realize, what the great narcissist or the narcissist doesn't understand, is that the same way that they were watching you and paying attention, the super empath was too. The difference between the super empath and the narcissist is the fact that they don't say anything. So the narcissist, in their arrogance and in their grandiosity, assumes that you're stupid. But they don't realize, just like one of the subscribers says, they pay attention to everything. They have so much information gathered on that narcissist that if push come to shove where they have to defend themselves, they much rather walk out cordial, Let's do this divorce. Let's do this cordial. Let me do it the right way, because that is the heart of the empath. For them to go supernova, it is totally out of character for them. That is totally out of character. They feel guilty. They feel horrible after they do it. But once they set their mind to staying away from the person, they much rather get out and discard than to blow up and do the same thing that the narcissist is doing. They don't do it with the thought of, I'm going to be narcissistic. Those traits come out because when those traits just come out. But they've watched everything, and if they have to use it for the purpose of protecting themselves, they will use what they know about the narcissist to protect themselves, to keep them away from them. But a super empath does not purposely go supernova. It is a method of defending themselves. It is a defense mechanism. And what happens is they have been pushed to the limits to a point that they can't control themselves. Now it's all about self-preservation. So they don't think about going supernova. It happens, and they get away. And it doesn't happen that often. That's why you normally don't see super empaths. They don't talk about it. And just like with the narcissist, remember, you got the lower, and they grow. They don't know much. They're reactive. Those are the ones that'll fight you. Those are the ones that you see a lot of domestic violence. They don't understand what they're doing. They just like the way that it feels. When you get to the more mid-range narcissists, those are the ones that they begin to understand, if I push this button, this happens. If I do this, this happens. They still don't really understand everything that they're doing. They just know that when I do this, I can get this to happen, and things are starting to happen. That Pavlov theory of the salivating dog. Ring the bell, bring the food, the dog salivates, and then eventually ring the bell and the dog starts salivating. So the mid-range narcissist, they know that 1 + 1 = 2, and so this is happening, and I like it. They make mistakes, they get narc injury, then they come back and they try it again. So they don't ever learn a lesson. They just learn how to do it better, and they move to a new supply once you figured it out. A greater narcissist understands what they are. They know that they're a greater narcissist, and they're very strategic, and they are the most evilest, darkest people that you will ever meet in your whole life. It's already bad enough that narcissists are dark and empty, but a greater narcissist, they study and they do everything intentionally, like you are a lab rat. Everything that they do it intentionally, and they do it for the maximum amount of pain from you. That's why they like the super empath, because the super empath can tolerate a lot of pain, because they don't know, they don't have, when people have a high pain tolerance, they don't know what normal pain is. And so they'll go above and beyond and not realizing that this pain is destroying you. So people that have a very high pain tolerance, like say physical, a high tolerance for pain, they don't know that it's destroying something or it's tearing something up, because they don't know what the limit of the pain is. They don't know what normal pain threshold is and what abnormal pain threshold is. Where a super empath does not have, they don't understand the normal threshold for pain. And so that narcissist, that greater narcissist needs someone that has that high level of pain tolerance, because that super empath will roll with it. They always have hope, and so they can tolerate a lot of pain. But by the time they reach that threshold where they're like, I can't take this anymore, their whole thing is to get away, not to go supernova, is to get away. They'll discard you and then purposely make up in their mind to stay away from you. And that narcissist will keep on messing with them. When they go supernova, it results in the greatest narc injury, that because it was unexpected, and they feel bad about what they've done, but it results in the greatest narc injury. And so when we say that a greater narcissist and a super empath can go toe to toe, they both observe everything. On the other side of the spectrum, which is not on the same spectrum, but the super empath will try to avoid at all costs of having to fight you and having to, they'll give up, but in their minds, a lot of times they're already calculating their escape. They may have been in a relationship for 40 years. In the last 15 years, if you guys watch Sleeping with the Enemy, I think that was a super empath. But what they'll do is a super empath will already see stuff is not right. And one of the viewers, you guys go look through the comments, one of the viewers explained it beautifully. But what they do is they'll start planning their escape. They'll get an education. They'll see how much this costs. They'll start putting money aside. They'll start preparing their mind. They have to build themselves up to leave, because that's how hard they love. That's how deeply they love. That's how deeply they feel. Well, they lack boundaries. They don't know when to say no. They don't know when to let go. They don't know, because they're thinking about the kids. They're thinking about the the narcissist. And so they'll back up, but they'll make a plan. They're very strategic at the plans that they make, the same way that the greater narcissist is very strategic at how they're going to attack you. But what happens is, when you say go toe to toe, is that super empath knows all the narcissist's secrets, meaning that if they wanted to, they can totally destroy that greater narcissist. But out of the compassion, because they have empathy of their heart, they won't do it. They'll prefer to separate than to go supernova. Supernova is a reaction. The reaction when they can't take it no more, and that narcissist keeps messing with them, won't leave them alone, they can't get away, and then they just poof. But when that happens, that super empath has to get into therapy, because that is totally out of character for them. That is out of character. They feel horrible. And these are the ones that are usually in counseling for a very long time. Now, the other thing about a super empath who has gone supernova, and it's not because they wanted to go supernova, is that they begin to understand who they are. They do not tell everybody who they are. People can tell. If you've been in a narcissistic relationship, you can get around a super empath, and now that you have the information, you can pick them out. But they don't brag about being a super empath, but they also don't tell you, I'm not the one you want to mess with. I'm going to love you hard. I'm going to do everything I can to help you. I'll give you the shirt off of my back. If you stab me in my back, I'll cut you off, because I know what I can do, and I know in my heart what I would do, and that's so out of character for me. I'm much rather leave you alone than to hurt you that way. I'll get away from you because you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know what I'm capable of. The greater narcissist knows what they are doing, and they are very meticulous, and they're insidious. And a super empath, once they discover who they are, they do everything they possibly can. That's why a lot of them are kind of standoffish. A lot of them, they learn not to connect with people, because they know if you take them there, they know what they're capable of, and they don't ever want to go to that point with you, and they'll leave you alone as opposed to going toe to toe. That is a super empath, y'all. So some of you guys, I'm a supernova. First of all, you don't even know that you're not a supernova. There is no such thing as a supernova empath. And some of you guys are not a super empath. Some of you guys, there's some people that I read some of the statements. One person made the comment and said took it out of my mouth. I'm like, that sounds more like borderline personality disorder. But I can't diagnose you. That's why I have a clinic. You come in, you get diagnosed. I do paperwork, and we do computerized, and we do computerized testing. And then I can see, what I'm dealing with. So you can't just diagnose people on YouTube. That would be unethical for me to do. But some of you guys are not super empaths. You could tell by the way you're talking, and I can tell the ones that are truly super empath. A lot of you guys, when you talk and some of the things that you've described, I can point out the super empaths on there. I can tell by what you're saying. And some of you guys are not super empaths. You're just empaths, and you just had enough, and you started fighting. And then you're thinking about how to get them back. Or every week I turn supernova. No, you don't. Supernova means you're gonna die. So when you go supernova, that means you are on the limits of death. The star going supernova means that the star is about to die. So it is a defense mechanism. So it's just like in the fight, flight, or freeze mode for PTSD. You got too much adrenaline pumping in your system, it'll start shutting down your immune system and starts tearing your body up. A super empath knows that they don't want to go supernova because it will start messing with them. But these individuals, when they don't know who they are ones that are in counseling for many years. They don't know when to say no. They don't know when to pull out. They don't know when to stop. They don't know when to stop loving you. They don't know when to stop giving. They don't know, they don't know how to separate, that is a narcissist, but they're hurting, A lot of you guys are still in the situations. And so another thing before I end the video, I also want to say, You have to be wise. Some of you guys have no children and you're not married to the narcissist. And so some of you guys, it emotionally is not easier, but it's easier to get out of the situation because there are no strings attached. Those of you that are married, you just can't, depending on the laws in your state, you just can't jump up and leave that narcissist. I highly recommend, even in a marriage, because each state law is different. You can get caught for abandonment, anything. So you have to be wise and you have to make up a plan. You have to use resources. Go to a domestic violence advocate. Go to the YWCA. Call the National Hotline for Domestic Violence and talk to the advocates on trying to make an escape. You have those that are advocates for the sex trafficking. Those that are being sex trafficking. And they assist with escape plans, getting you into shelters, getting you out of state, protecting you. You just can't just jump out of the marriage because it also depends on what country you're in or what state. There are laws that govern the marriage, depending on what state you're in. For those of you that have children, you just can't get those kids and just leave. They can get you for kidnapping. They can get you for abandonment. The father and the mother, both of you guys have rights to those kids. When you do things, you have to be wise. Some of you guys are suffering. You are. But you have to be wise and planning your escape. And you have to use the resources available. Not everybody understands narcissist abuse. And so you have to use the resources available. Domestic Violence Hotline, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, the local YWCA and domestic violence shelters. They deal with these cases on a consistent basis. I can't give you advice like that, but I can connect you to those resources and they'll tell you by law how to get yourself out of that situation. They'll tell you by law what laws govern you, what laws govern domestic violence, because it is domestic violence, and they will safeguard you. They will protect you. There are laws in the states. In different countries, I don't know what advice to give you. Some of you guys had put numbers up before on the local domestic violence and advocacy programs in different countries. I think New Zealand, I think in England, you guys posted the numbers. You guys, you have to be wise because there are some narcissists that have money. And a lot of them that have money that are wealthy will use that money and that wealth against you to make you look like you are the crazy one. You're the narcissist. By the time police officers show up at your house, you're already, all over the place. So it's easy for them to calm down and say, look, see, he or she's crazy. See what I'm talking about? You got to calm down, connect with the resources, be wise, get out of your emotions, make a plan. Make a plan. Don't just jump up and do stuff just because you can or you think you can. Because there are laws that govern parents. There are laws that govern marriages. And for those single people, there's still certain laws you want to make sure that you have a tight plan together. Remember that. So hopefully this has helped you guys. Hopefully this information has clarified some things. You guys leave some comments. And you got to remember when I did that super empath, the narcissist versus the super empath, it wasn't just empathetic people that were coming out. Narcissists were coming out. If you were reading some of the comments on there, narcissists were coming out. They weren't even commenting on the video. They were commenting on how I was saying what I was saying. There you go. Look at the character of the people and the stuff that they're saying. Come on, y'all. You guys don't have just survivors on this channel. You got narcissists that are watching you. You got greater narcissists that are watching you and watching what you're saying. Be careful. Protect yourselves. Protect yourselves. So hopefully this is giving you a clarification of the super empath. I really wanted to come back and do some additional explanation so you guys know. Some of you guys are not super empaths, and then some of you guys are using the terminology all wrong. You're not a supernova. There's no such thing as a supernova empath. No, a super empath will go supernova, but they don't do it on purpose. It's not something that they think about. That's something that they try to avoid, and they don't even know that they're going supernova. They're just trying to back up because they know the damage that they can do, and they'll avoid it at all costs. It's too draining. It's emotionally draining, and a lot of them need support and they need people. Once a super empath understands who they are, they safeguard themselves. They know how far to go with people, and it takes mentorship and it takes counseling for people that understand narcissist abuse and understand super empaths and empaths. And so they have to really train themselves and pull themselves back. That's why a lot of them may look standoffish. A lot of them won't connect with people that well. They do have that almost like that intuition, that feeling for people's energy. Something ain't right. I'm not going to connect with you. Your energy energy is bad. I don't know about you, but they're very sensitive when it comes to that. But they also know that I'm not one you want to mess with. I am empathetic. I'm going to help you. I'm going to do this for you. Take the shirt off. I help you do whatever. But once you cross those boundaries, I'm going to try to separate and keep you at a distance and be nice to you because I know the damage that I can do. That's how they think. But I'm not going to tell everybody. They're not open to just tell them. A real super empath is not going to tell everybody who they are. Now, some of you guys are sharing, and thank you so much. But the average super empath is not going to tell people that they're a super empath. They're not going to say that, and they won't tell what they can and cannot do. They know in their heart, and they don't have to brag about it. They don't have to talk about it because they're not happy. They're not pleased with it. They're not proud of that. They know, but they back up. They don't let anybody know that's how powerful they are. But you got to remember, they're on the other end of the spectrum from the narcissist. They're not like the narcissist. They're on the other end of the spectrum. That's why the greater narcissist likes the super empath. They can get the maximum amount of fuel out of them. But what they're afraid of is when they done had enough. You see what I mean? And that's not something that happens all the time. It doesn't. It's not something, you don't go supernova every week. You don't go supernova every month. That's not something that happens. Not a super empath. And a greater narcissist, very careful and meticulous. A super empath, very careful and meticulous. Even though they don't know that they're doing it, very careful and meticulous because they know themselves. And as they get to know themselves even better, they know themselves. Okay, so hopefully this has explained some stuff to you guys. Leave some comments. Tell me what you think. So thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully that disclaimer at the very end is giving you guys some understanding of trying to leave narcissistic relationships. Be careful, plan wisely, use resources. Don't jump up and try to be Billy Bad Booty and just jump up and start running, screaming and waving your hand in the air like you just don't care. No, get some resources and make a planned escape. Make sure you get resources. Make sure you get counselors. Make sure you get a support team. Make sure you understand your legal rights and the other person's legal rights dealing with marriages and children, okay? So thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Dr. Carmen Bryant, and this is my channel, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Please subscribe. Hit the bell so you know whenever I upload Tuesday through Friday, and I do pre-recording. Sunday I come on live. Please join me 8 to 9 o'clock, between 8 and 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is West Coast time. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys go and you guys be great. Love you guys. Take care of yourselves.